Welcome
Welcome.
to the Hipocritics. The Hipocritics podcast,
So,
where me, Josiah
Yeah.
Saravalli, and as a co-host with my co-host,
yes, we are both co-hosts. I am Alex the Void, the other co-host.
we talk about things such as anime and film and books and
And
games. Definitely games.
We're going to talk about that a lot today.
a lot today.
And we should just let you know that we actually recorded another intro and threw it in the trash and lit it on fire because it was awful.
Ugh.
And we were trying to be too sincere and heartfelt. And you're like, oh, we're just explaining to you like all these feelings we've been having to want to start a podcast. And we realized like all of that was garbage.
It was so monotone. We meant it all, but it was very like slow and hard to follow. So
We're doing it again, and this is the real opening for the pilot episode of this podcast, and I honestly am really excited about it. A little bit about me, I am a video producer full-time, and I'm an editor, filmmaker, I'm a musician, and I just really enjoy being creative and talking to people about creative things. And for me, this is a way to have an outlet, to get out there and to express my opinions, but also listen to the audience and get stuff out of that. And together, you know, we've been collaborating and talking for so long. A little bit about our relationship, Joe and I's relationship. Like I was out of town for a long time and recently came back, and that's when we started this podcast. And we've been talking for like a year over Skype and watching anime. So, you know, we've been having these amazing conversations, and I was like, we really need to record these. Like, this has been such a fun experience, and I want to go back and listen to them. So, I'm a filmmaker turned podcaster.
yeah,
And what about you?
I'm none of those things. I wouldn't call myself a musician, but I play some instruments. Other than that, I'm nothing that Alex is.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah, well, maybe not. I'm a chemistry student in college right now, but I have a lot of background, and what I really love and have a passion for is writing and poetry and good stories and books and literature. So it's very interesting to see the two kind of personalities that we have and like how we see different art forms in that. I have almost all my friends are very, very creative and have backgrounds like Alex. So it's always, I have a lot of that experience having conversations about art and talking in depth about them and how they impact us. And it's always super interesting to hear all the different sides and what everybody sees when they experience the same things I experience, but in different ways. And so for Alex and I, we've very much been talking about art, and sometimes it's like some stupid anime that we'll laugh about it and it's super dumb, but at the end I'll be like, but Alex, did you see this symbolism here? And he'll be like, and we just have these really deep discussions about, you know, something like Death Note. And
that's what we started with.
it was.
Death
That was the
Note.
beginning. And it's always cool because we experience, like, even in the creative industry and creative projects and that, Alex is often managing and editing and doing things like that, and I'm often creating things just for myself. And so it's very interesting to see like two sides of the same coin and how they go together and different perspectives on different art projects.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because you're involved so heavily with conception and also like coming up with creativity and coming up with ideas that become fully fleshed out. And I'm been so involved with production and also distribution and marketing. So that I think the two of us together have a powerful combination, and I'm looking forward to like doing this podcast with you and also listening to our viewers.
Yes.
And getting their input about what we talk about and listening to what they find is interesting in the art world. So anyway, whatever wholesome part of that was good, we're going to talk about video games and E3 coming up in a week and our crazy predictions of what we think will happen and what we really want to happen.
So hold on to your seats. We'll be right back while we take a break. Break.
And we're back with our E3 predictions. This is the Hipocritics podcast. This is the pilot episode, and we decided to do E3 because that's not going to be dated in like 1 week.
Exactly.
When we're wrong about every single prediction we had.
We just wanted to make sure you knew exactly when we were making this and what we got wrong.
Yeah, so E3 is next week, and I am really excited because I am on Xbox, and there's literally no games to play. PS4 has had really, really good exclusives this year. God of War. I'm really interested in playing Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Yes.
Let's see. Uncharted is amazing. I mean, there's so many. So on the Xbox front, we've had a bunch of janky ports, and let's see. We had what's the pirate game called? Sea of Thieves.
Yes.
We had Sea of Thieves, which I didn't care about, and then we had State of Decay 2, which interested me, but like looked way too complicated and like there's too much depth for me. I'm more interested in like a really, really well told story.
Yeah.
And speaking of well told stories, my first E3 prediction is we're going to have a trailer or maybe just a logo for the new BioShock. And so all of this kind of got incepted out of, now I know what you're thinking. I know that Ken Levine has left, and the creative director, basically like the guy who made everything with BioShock happen, is not the person in charge. I know what you're thinking. Well, I don't want another BioShock game, but what if there is another one? Because this guy named I think it's Jason Schreier from Kotaku News. He's an editor there. He tweeted, "Among other details I learned while reporting this story, right next to Hangar 13, a top secret 2K studio that is now working on a top secret new BioShock game." So he tweeted that. Hopefully that's a real thing.
Hopefully.
I mean, I don't know anything. I've never heard of Hangar 13.
Me either. But yeah.
And I mean, it could be ex BioShock devs. It's been long enough because Irrational kind of like fell apart. So, I guess where I wanted to, without spoiling anything from Infinite and BioShock and like all of them, really, like, where the heck did they go from here?
Right. Yeah.
Because like, BioShock. I think to me the most, like, if I was gonna summarize the series, I'd say polarizing, and on many levels. One of the biggest ones for me is how political the games are.
Right. Yeah.
They tackle race, religion, politics, ethics, and of course the last one was BioShock Infinite, and the Burial at Sea DLC continued that story.
Right.
So where the heck do they go? I still think, to me, what BioShock is a moral, like a discussion of ideas. I think every BioShock game has pushed me in some way, either religiously, politically, ethically. In a way, like not like drastically changed my perspective, but has like helped me view the world differently because of how the game expresses ideas. It expresses through, even though it's a like pretty horrifying and violent first-person shooter, it's still like asking big questions, like what does it mean to be ethical, and what does it mean to what is nationalism, what is anarchy, and where is the line between something that's excessive and something that you need. So one area that like I've seen, because Infinite to me started, or let's start with BioShock 1. If you haven't played it, please play BioShock 1.
Please.
Like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, we could basically spoil it at this point, but I'm not going to, because the story's so good.
Beautiful.
You end up in this isolated city under the water, and you are like, everything has gone to crap. It's this like utopian dystopia. And you start off with the game like, where did everybody go? And then you find out they're all hopped up on drugs called Adam, and are like splicing their genes and running around like killing each other. But it started off as this beautiful world. And so, like, I think they've done this like anarchy kind of like no government regulation, where Infinite is the direct foil to that,
Yeah.
and Infinite is religious nationalism to a point where it's like a cult.
Yeah.
So you've got those two different sides of the same coin. So I was thinking, okay, well, they haven't done communism. So I was thinking, but they did do that with 2.
I was thinking that, yeah.
2 was like Sophia Lamb, which was the main dictator. So
Right.
she's this dictator of this underwater city.
Mm.
And so what can they do now?
Yeah, I feel like the thing that makes a Bioshock game is like a lot of what you said.
Mm-hmm.
It's not restricted to like a set character like or a setting
Mm-hmm.
in the sense of like it doesn't have to be underwater, it doesn't have to be in the sky, it doesn't have to be anywhere. It's more about that idea of like political ideas, like morals, and going against like the grain of what everything else is. It involves a really intense story that makes you think past what you're seeing and what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so I feel like if they were to make another Bioshock, I would be mostly interested in like, I think if they were to make a new one and do something new, it would be almost on a philosophical side.
Okay.
Instead of like, because they mostly focused on political in a lot of aspects. But in Bioshock 1, there were tinges of philosophical ideas. And
Hold your thought real quick. I'm going to get the mic over. I'm like paranoid that it's like too. I'm going to put it right there.
Alex in one word. Paranoid.
Me. I just wanted to be like exactly between us.
You're right.
Is that going to be there? Okay, go ahead. Continue. Sorry.
Go. So I feel like there's a lot of philosophical ideas that they could play with that they haven't quite touched upon.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of room for story in there. And if you just a lot of philosophical ideas are ideas that are good in theory but rarely or never work in practice. and so I feel like
college.
You're right. And so I feel like for Bioshock that would be a perfect setup because if someone were to take some of these philosophical ideas and apply them to an entire like city, then suddenly you have this dystopia.
Yeah. What are some famous dystopias that we could like? I was so when you were saying all that, I was thinking like Greece and like philosophy, Greek philosophy.
Yeah.
So something that's like I think you need like the world itself, like the city is a character, and I think we need something that's very, very polarized, something that's over the top. Yeah. And that could be Victorian England, that could be I'm just trying to think of new environments. Like I think it'd be really cool if they had a game in Russia.
Yeah, that'd be pretty
like because that's a completely different setting.
Yeah.
Or Asia.
I like Russia. The cold setting would be really cool. I know I just said moving away from political ideas, but coming back to that, when you mentioned Greece, I suddenly thought of I'm trying to remember the political party or idea where only the elites rule.
Like a monarchy? Or no, oligarchy.
Oligarchy,
yeah,
yes. Right. And if they had something like that, I feel like that would be a really good setting for Bioshock.
So I said all this, and sorry, you good?
Yeah.
I said all this, and immediately was like, oh wait, I'm describing a game that's coming out called Atomic Heart.
Oh, you're right.
So I didn't even think about that, but I remembered. So I'm just going to read this little thing I Googled. Atomic Heart is a adventure first-person shooter with the events which unfold in an alternate universe during the high noon of the Soviet Union. The principal character in the game is a special agent P3. So I don't know if that's like KGB or something, but who after an unsuccessful landing on Enterprise 3826 is trying to figure out what went wrong. So I think that's another thing about Bioshock that's been so interesting to me is the fact that like all of these different games have pulled from it. Like I can see Bioshock in everything. That's like Prey. I mean, in first-person shooters, like narrative-driven first-person shooters. Prey definitely, which was the science fiction on the space station, which was an enclosed, idealistic environment. What else? Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Is heaven, like the new Wolfenstein. I mean, it's going back to like pretty heavy Nazi, you know, first person shooter, kill the Nazis, save the girl. But the new one has inspired me so much because of the recent kind of political unrest with the neo-Nazis, especially in Gainesville, Florida.
Yeah.
That area, like that when Richard Spencer came.
Yeah.
So anyway, coming back, like, you know, BioShock has inspired a huge amount of games and continues to do that, and like it's probably regarded as one of the greatest games ever made. So, to me, making something fresh means a new environment. Maybe it's like another planet, but I still want it to be grounded in some type of reality and like human perspective, you know. And I don't know, like I want them to kind of blow my socks off.
Yeah.
And I don't think that only Ken Levine is BioShock.
It's the whole team.
I think that viewpoint holds water in some ways, but like, if I'm gonna be honest, like he's one person in like a multi, you know, hundreds of people team who makes BioShock. And so yeah, that's my first one. That there's gonna be some type of either trailer or logo for BioShock 4.
Yeah, at least a logo. I love that idea. I mean, when you started mentioning Atomic Heart and like that idea of like the height of the Soviet Union, I feel like that's such a BioShock idea of like a golden age of a society and capturing that in time and like freezing it, and like even a time frame like Fallout does with the 50s. Like that's it's such a motivating, like, unique use of a setting that's really impactful.
And I think we did have a Russian game. It was Metro.
Yes, Metro's really famous for doing that exactly in Russia and using that kind of setting as a story.
But I would say it's philosophical, but more like Fallout to me.
Yeah.
But with BioShock, like first person shooter. So that was good. That was a really well made game. It didn't like question my like perspective on reality.
Quite as groundbreaking,
but it was good. So yeah, well, I mean that's my prediction. What do you got?
Oh man. Well, I've been thinking about Metroid Prime.
I hate you. That was my second one.
Dang it.
Go ahead.
So I've been thinking about Metroid Prime and its the logo announcement, and I've been my kind of prediction is, I don't know if this might be going like too far for the E3. I think they'll show a trailer for it. Okay. I think it probably won't be gameplay. It'll probably just be like cutscenes.
I literally wrote that down.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, I was thinking about that.
It's probably just going to be cutscenes, and I'm worried. I'm honestly really... So the entire team that worked on the good Metroid Prime games...
There's one.
Yeah, you're right. But...
well, they made all of them.
Yeah. But they're not a part of this game, and so...
Or they're making Donkey Kong.
Oh, man.
Which is... Sorry. I'm so frustrated.
Same. And so I'm really worried that it's gonna end up like, I never played Other M, but I've heard it wasn't great.
It's like Metroid Prime waifu.
Yeah, well, pretty much. But it's also like they're trying to, and I understand their point. Like they're trying to add more character to Samus, but it's also, I feel like they're doing the opposite by doing that. A lot of her character was given through like silent actions.
You're right.
And just being there and doing what you control her to do, and like how the other characters interact with her, and not her doing stuff herself. And so for the E3 prediction, I think they'll just show like trailers of cutscenes and stuff, and it'll probably be mostly like they'll either announce that she won't be speaking, and it'll be like, yay, she doesn't have a voice actor, or it'll be the opposite, and they'll give her a voice actor, and it'll be like a big deal.
I really hope they say that she's not speaking.
Me too.
And that's really interesting that you bring that up, because I think we're gonna get some type of cinematic trailer because last time we got a logo, they're not going to give us another logo.
Yeah.
And if they don't do anything, people are going to freak out.
Yeah.
And they like usually Nintendo, once they get going, like it takes them forever to get going.
Right,
But once
yeah.
they get going, then they're like, okay, here's a little bit more.
Mhm.
Here's a little bit more. So I don't think we're going to see gameplay, or we'll see like 2 clips of like 3 seconds, like the gun
Yeah.
shooting. And so we're going to get some type of really cool like new spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is more in regard to the Switch too. Like what I wrote, it's so funny you wrote that. I wrote, my prediction was new Metroid Prime, in the new Metroid Prime game, that my like whole thing was like the Switch has been weird with me. Like
Yeah.
when I first heard about the Switch, I was like, this is another Wii U, which is not what we want at
Thank
all.
The Lord. It
Yeah,
is
and
not
it's
another
totally
Wii U.
not. Like I ate
Yeah.
my words with that. Like
Yeah,
I totally
good.
get that.
Thank goodness.
Think everything.
Yeah.
But because the Switch, like it's starting to get a lot more mature games, and I'm not saying like games need to be mature, like
Right.
they don't, but like for me, like games that have affected me or have been mature games.
Mhm.
You know, they're getting Wolfenstein. They're just getting Wolfenstein. They got Doom.
Yeah.
They need Metroid Prime. That's like their
Yeah.
kind of horror experience, and like this is not jumping on mushrooms experience,
Yeah.
or Zelda, you know,
Yeah.
which is Zelda's a little bit more in the middle.
Mhm.
So the Switch is really growing for me, on me too. They just got Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Like I'm like
Remastered.
already like I want
On
a
it.
Switch,
Yeah.
and once this game comes out, I'll get one.
Yeah.
And plus they're getting Smash,
Oh.
so
Ugh.
they're starting to like hit me repeatedly in the jaw with
Yeah.
like, hey, this is why you should care,
Mhm.
and like they're reaching out to third parties.
Which is super important.
Anyway, coming back to Prime has to kill it,
Yeah.
because they did
Yeah.
have this like they did have the Metroid 2 game,
Mhm.
which I hope I don't offend anyone, but like honestly, the original Metroid 2 is the worst Metroid.
Yeah.
Period. Like it's awful. Like it's terrible. Like different shades of gray,
Ugh.
and then like there's no like there's kind of a map system, but like it's just awful.
Yeah.
And like the music is okay, and like the guns like shoot like 2 feet and it like disappears. So like there's so many ways to be frustrated with that game. And I was hoping for anything but like a remake of that game.
Yeah.
Like to me, that's the worst game to remake.
I feel like nobody even knew. Most people didn't even know, except for the hardcore fans, that it was like most people skipped over that one.
Yeah.
And I feel like that might have also been part of the reason they remade it, because they're like, hey, don't forget this exists, and like they tried to fix all the problems with it.
Yeah, they probably didn't even know it was an actual game. So, you know, to me, this game has to. And we haven't had a Metroid game. We didn't have one on. We really haven't had a real Metroid game.
Mhm.
We're not talking about Federation Force. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
That's awful.
It doesn't count.
We didn't get one on the Wii U, which we know whatever. I don't
Yeah.
care. But like I'm really excited for that, for Retro to kill it
Yeah.
and bring it back, and I want it to be heavy and like
Yeah.
I want it to be
Mm.
scary.
Yeah.
We don't have a scary game on Switch.
Yeah.
I want that.
I really, so I grew up on Prime. Like Prime, the first one,
You're right.
was one of my first in like serious games that I played on the GameCube, and man, that game, I played too many hours into that game, and so ever since, like especially after, I mean, 3 was okay, 2 was decent.
I did like the back and forth, but it got too long.
Yeah.
When you switched to the Dark World compared to the
Yeah.
Light World.
And you had to constantly switch. I mean, there were a bunch of different things that I
Yeah.
didn't like about the sequels, but then they stopped and they went with all these different, trying to kind of switch to a different idea with hunters, and they just kind of quit the whole Prime thing.
Yeah.
And so for it to come back for me is like super nostalgic, and so I have like it's like really set in my heart that if they screw it up, I'm gonna be so mad.
Oh, I think if they mess up this game, Metroid's done.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
I heard that like, and this is kind of like a fan thing, but probably more like the the Metroid series has always been kind of an underdog series, and you know a lot of attention is on Zelda and Mario, and like that makes sense because they're very like they appeal to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But the funding for Metroid games has always been like, if we don't make it, if this game doesn't work out, we're kind of done making Metroid, you know. So I want it to be. I don't want any I don't want the phase-on thing. I don't want this energy thing that's tearing apart planets. I just want like a very grounded, real experience, like on a planet.
Yeah.
Where you're like you wake up, or in I don't know where in the series they're gonna put this game because Metroid Fusion, no spoilers, but like at the end of that game, you're kind of like, where the heck is the whole series gonna go from here?
Yeah.
Like there's stuff that's happened that changed the perception of Samus.
Yeah.
And also like other I kind of want to. It's hard to not spoil it because it's like such a good game. Go play Metroid Fusion. I think it's really,
it's probably my favorite. One of my favorites.
Yeah, it's my favorite 2D Metroid. Yeah. Because like Samus has like genuine like character development too, as a result of like it's not really a spoiler. It's because it happens in like the trailer, but like she gets like her part of her suit like surgically removed off her body, and like it's basically like grafted to her, so she can't really like function properly. She's like literally can't take the suit off. Yeah, it's like ingrained in her body. So she's like learning how to do everything again. Yeah. So you start off like really weak, and then you're like you look really weird in that game too.
I love that game.
So yeah, so I think Metroid has to be scary. It has to be overwhelmingly like good looking. The gunplay has to be amazing. Yeah. I don't care about multiplayer. I really hope they don't do multiplayer.
Yeah, me too, honestly.
What else do you think makes Metroid now?
I think what made Metroid, the Prime series specifically, what made it stand out so much to me was this level of mystery. Yeah. Like you knew nothing. You didn't know where you were, why you were there. I mean, I guess it kind of explains it as you go along, but like right off the bat, everything just feels very unique, very new, and like everywhere you go, you're almost surprised by the things you see, and like it can be maybe shocking, but like you're surprised but not really scared most of the time. And they do have like jump scare moments. Yeah. But I love that aspect of like every time you see something new, you're like, what is that? Like, how does that work? Right. So I feel like a lot of what's important for it to succeed is the mechanics can't be too ridiculous or complicated, which I feel like they got a little overboard.
They don't have a Wiimote, so that should not
That's
happen.
true. I hope they don't
go
crazy. They should be okay. They might do like some like grapple.
I'm sure there's gonna be some waggling with the Joy-Con.
Yeah, but I'm hoping the mechanics are solid. If they do the mechanics solid, and then keep most of the no light dark.
Yeah,
because that would and then I think the most important thing is for them to add like this level of mystery and newness that that just has been missing from a lot of the most recent ones. I would love to see them do the timeline, put it after Fusion. That would be so cool.
Basically, everything goes to crap.
Yeah.
And without spoiling anything.
That'd be so cool.
And I think they really need a new take of the power suit. I want to do something different with like the look of it. I want it to be like I was thinking like I want it to be organic.
Oh, that would be cool.
Like I want it to be part of her.
Wait. Oh, that would flow so well with Fusion.
Yeah.
And then also I would love to see, first of all, I just realized the logo that they announced was all blue. Very similar to Fusion. Has a strong emphasis on the blue colors.
That makes sense.
And then also I would love to see it like integrated, and also her battling with this idea of like her and the suit becoming almost one, and like going back to the Chozo ruins and the artifacts.
I was thinking about Wolfenstein. He's like, Caroline. Because what happens in Wolf, you get hurt a lot and you put the suit on, and it prevents you from literally from your organs from falling out because you're like got blown up by the end. Like there's a lot of stuff, but like the entire game you're like there's a part where you're questioning your like mortality, and you're like, Caroline, I don't know if I'm gonna make it another day.
Caroline, spare me your wings one more day.
So
I love that aspect though.
I think that's interesting too, because like she's starting to become an alien herself. Like Samus is not a human anymore. I mean, she has like the blood from the Chozo, which is this race that like alien race that basically like adopts her.
Yeah.
And because her parents get killed by Ridley, who is this giant dragon monster thing, who's in like basically is in charge of this whole thing, but it's actually like secretly a tie-in to Ridley Scott from the director of Alien.
It's actually Alien.
It's actually Ridley Scott, the director.
You're right.
So anyway, Metroid has to be. They have to really kill it. Yeah. And I played Mario Odyssey recently.
Oh yeah.
And that game is so. Yeah, like they're killing it. And there's no other way to say it. Like Zelda was really good. Like it's not my type of game, but like I get like overwhelmed by open world games.
Oh, I know.
But and like Mario, just the mechanics, like somehow they made me care about Mario again.
Yeah.
And like the stories, like whatever, but like the mechanics are so well done, and the adventure and exploration is so well done, and like the hat is so fun to throw. I was playing with my sister, and she was like playing as the hat, and there is like this level of like it's more fun when you play with somebody. So they need we need Metroid Prime to be the next Mario Odyssey.
For real.
We need it to have some hook with the Switch, and then I would like to be able to like have a way to interact with other people who have a Switch to have it too. But I don't know how you do that with Metroid.
Yeah, that would be hard.
Because I wanted like have like kind of like this, like have these like water cooler moments where you're like, dude, I was playing Metroid and then Samus, jumped off a building and had this question about what life means to her, like some existential thing. Yeah. I want Samus to get existential but not be emo.
Right, same. Yeah.
Like
important line there.
So, but anyway,
next prediction.
Can I?
Yeah, go.
All right.
Next prediction.
Awkward silence. Professional podcasting.
You're right. Pilot episode, everyone.
Pilots. We're pilots.
We're
piloting.
We're two pilots. 21 two pilots.
We're gonna crash.
You're right.
My next prediction, which was gonna be that, but you stole it.
You're right. Oh crap.
So I've only got two really. Was. And this is a prediction, but it's more of like a beg for Microsoft.
Okay.
I want a new first party
IP.
And they have to. Like we have Halo.
Listen. I
don't know what
listen.
Awkward silence.
I'm
sad.
It's so they haven't had another Halo game or Gears of War game, but
I don't care about either of those franchises.
I was about to say their franchises right now are not great. Like their Halo franchise,
Halo 5.
Down. Yeah, it just died.
The multiplayer was really good, but the story was
garbage,
awful.
And then their Gears of War games have just been the same since 2.
I heard 4 is good, but like I never jumped on that bandwagon. So it's weird because like I love the controller and I love Xbox and I love using like. My brother-in-law has one, and like I'm not gonna go anywhere. I'm gonna stay there. Yeah. But I'm like, it's been this dry season of like nothing good has come out, and like State of Decay 2 was super buggy. I heard, and I just don't want to play another Destiny. I'm burned on Destiny, so like the pirate game like did not get me at all.
I can't remember.
But those are good games. I'm not trying to rip on those. It's just for me, it wasn't what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So. I want to let you do your thing. Like, I just want to ask this question. What does Microsoft need in its portfolio? When you think about it, it's got Sea of Thieves, which is like their open world Destiny-like game. They have a pretty strong foundation in first-person shooters with Halo. But if they mess up this Halo with the story, they're done. Yeah. Like I don't like they better just make multiplayer because they better just do Battlefront. And don't do Battlefront 2 though. And then I guess like they have this zombie survival game in State of Decay.
Oh yeah.
They have their kind of brotastic Gears of War game, which is very well made, but not my thing. I think they need to have something that is what did I write here? I wrote we need an adventure game.
Oh yeah.
I need something to like I need an open world, but I'd be fine with like a linear game that tells a really good story.
Yeah.
I mean, Sony's killing it.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, Sony, I don't like them because they're killing it.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. I feel like it's hard. I never really got into Microsoft that much, so a lot of like Xbox 360 games and stuff. I never got really into all of the Xbox only games. But I know most of the good games that you can play on the Xbox One are third party. Like they're not exclusives.
Wolfenstein.
Yeah, I mean Wolfenstein. I was going through a list of like games that I wanted to talk about, and like Anthem's on there, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is on there,
Yeah.
and Starfield are on there. Those are all third party. They're gonna be on more than just Xbox, and so I guess Xbox if they want to save their system, and I don't even know if they can at this point, but
They're just they're behind.
yeah, they're way behind.
And they need a new Halo.
Yeah.
Like they literally need a smashing, like overwhelming hit. To me, it's an adventure game. I don't want a shooter. We have Halo and we have Gears. We need an adventure game. Yeah. We need something like I don't want to say Uncharted because like we have Uncharted.
Right.
And we have Tomb Raider.
Right.
And you can play Tomb Raider on Xbox. I want more of a narrative driven adventure. I want something that's more based around making choices. Maybe it's like less violent. It could be a third person game, but they're not gonna compete with God of War.
Yeah.
Like don't try to make God of War. Like please. Just don't. We also have Hellblade, Sacrifice, which just came out on Xbox. So so my question is like, let's do something different from Sony.
They have to do
what is
different.
that?
Right.
I have no clue.
I have no idea either. So what they're gonna have to do is they would have to set a whole team aside and be like, we need something completely new.
Yeah.
Because Sony has so many. I was just thinking Red Dead Redemption I thought was an Xbox exclusive, but it's not.
No, it's gonna be out.
And I was like, that might have saved it, honestly, because Red Dead Redemption is super highly anticipated. But it's not, and so they need something that's a completely new IP, completely new, and it has to be huge. I think the thing with Halo as an exclusive worked back when that genre was super popular, but now it's the business, the gaming industry is so oversaturated with first-person shooters that it's almost become like just another blip. And
yep, I agree.
And so they need more than just a first-person shooter genre exclusive. So they definitely need to do some kind of different genre, maybe an adventure, third party, maybe even.
Maybe they need to steal a studio.
Yeah, pretty much.
or you know what? They could just come out with Minecraft 2.
You're right.
And make tons of money.
It's true. Or they could just buy Fortnite.
Yeah, but then I would sell my Xbox.
You're right.
And kill myself. I mean, it probably needs to be a third party or a third person game.
Yeah.
But how do you make something that isn't what Sony's doing?
Right.
So, it needs to appeal to a lot of people. I want like a gritty story. I want like a real kind of down to earth story. I love what Telltale's doing. The trailer for the last season of The Walking Dead came out today. I played every one of those games. The show's good, but it's kind of dying now. Like I love the first season of the show, and then I was like, this is the same thing over and over again. It's still very good though.
Right.
But for me, the games have always been better.
Yeah.
And the games tell a narrative with the same character in 4 seasons.
Oh wow.
And her name's Clementine.
Mm.
And you see this progression of her character between the first game where she's like probably 12 and the last game I don't even know. She looks really old. She's probably like 20.
Mm.
And there's just so
really
much.
old 20.
I mean, for her, like
Right.
that going through puberty is so overwhelming in that environment because of how intense the like subject matter is.
Right.
Like she has to grow up so quickly.
That's crazy.
So it's like she's lived like 10, 20 years,
Mhm.
30 years. So I think to me, like I want a really good Microsoft story,
Mm-hmm.
which we haven't had in like ever. Like
Yeah,
I guess
pretty
like the first Halo.
Yeah.
Halo 2 was kind of renowned for having a good story, and in the end it like died.
Yeah.
So I don't think Halo's gonna save the day, and the
Mhm.
last 2 have been good, but I still think Halo 1
Yeah.
is amazing. So we need some new blood. We need something that's I haven't seen before
Mhm.
and haven't thought of, and that's what's hard to like
Right.
bring that up.
I think they could make progress if they can't come up with like a whole new thing.
Yeah,
Is kind of like God of War did in the idea of like revitalizing, rethinking an already used title, like
that's a
completely
really good idea.
reconstructing it,
Yeah,
like changing everything about it, just using the same kind of characters, and then you can even.
Battletoads.
You're right.
We'll make that like a gripping
I'd buy that.
narrative about jumping over like
Listen,
jet skis.
the toads were actually humans who were magically cursed to be toads.
I'm pretty sure that's Ninja Turtles, but different.
You're right, but different. But if they like rethought something and completely reconstructed it and made it an entirely different genre that's really banging, then I think it could do them a lot of good, at least.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Okay, so what are some like old Microsoft franchises from like Xbox One? You never really had Xbox original.
Yeah.
That like are dead now. I mean, there's like Blinks. Blinks is kind of a meme at this point too. Mech Warrior. They had Shadowrun. I don't know.
Did
Like
they
I
ever
have to
have
think
good ones?
I don't know. Like a lot of them were pretty bad. And Halo. That's like why Halo kind of like
Right.
was ahead of the pack. And like when Halo came out,
Mm.
it was not just a game that had really good mechanics, but like a really good story and like a really good cooperative game.
Yeah. They had Sunset Overdrive, which was
Yeah.
really niche and like creative,
Mm-hmm.
super creative game.
Yeah.
But like it was kind of overshadowed by a lot of other stuff that happened during that year.
And now the people that are making that are making Spider-Man for Sony.
Yeah.
So-
So it's like all the good people left. Oh
So-
man, I'm excited about that.
So yeah, I don't have an answer to that. You know what?
You know what?
You know what, Microsoft?
Microsoft, you're dead.
Just impress me.
You're right.
Okay, like I bought your console. Just I want to believe in you. I want to believe in like going forward. I think the controller is still the best controller out.
Sure. I think you're right. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the PS4
Mhm.
controller.
But I don't have an answer. So I'm just gonna
Microsoft, impress us, please.
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 Now I'm gonna just like chuck the show at you
Oh, okay.
for the next thing you got.
All right. This is my second prediction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm pretty much done till my dumb prediction, like which is kind of
Okay.
ridiculous.
You're right.
Which is kind of like a back and forth thing. So.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember because a lot of my quote unquote predictions were more like things I wanted to see, I
Yeah.
guess.
That's what I did too.
Okay, good. And I really, I think Bethesda is going to go with Starfield in their announcement.
Okay, so I have no idea what Starfield is.
All right, Starfield is, if you Google it, it's a Canadian Christian music group from Winnipeg, Manitoba.
My favorite band.
Yeah, they're gonna release that. But as a game, it's essentially like Fallout's trying, or Bethesda's trying to move from a fantasy realm to a sci-fi realm. And it looks
Okay.
they've only
That's not
have,
Fallout?
no, you're right. And it looks very much like, from what I've seen, from like snapshots and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like what can't remember what it's called. The space game.
There's a lot of those.
Oh no!
What is it like?
My brain is dead. The one that was like there's billions of procedurally generated.
Oh yeah, what the heck? No, that game was so forgettable that no one knows what it was.
I forget.
It
what
was called.
It was so hyped.
Oh yeah, it was overhyped, and you were on this planet, and you were like supposed to. And see, that's like the idea. It's like the idea was you were on a planet, and you could fly to other planets, but you had to like it's kind of like Minecraft in space.
Right.
But the game itself was like, okay, there's billions of
No Man's Sky.
Yeah, there you go. There's billions of possible scenarios where you could do different planets and have all these experiences, but the thing was all of them were the same.
Yeah. Well, what happened is the studio flooded and they had to destroy all their progress and pretty much do the game.
Like actually flooded?
Yeah. Like
where?
all their stuff was
gosh.
their whole studio was flooded.
I didn't know that. I feel really bad for them now.
Yeah, it sucks. They had a really hard time and
Wow.
they had to scrap everything and start with very minimal data and like resources. So that's why it did like flop so bad, is because they hyped it up so much and then it flopped.
It flooded.
it literally flooded. And so they had a ton of problems. But Starfield looks very much like what No Man's Sky should have been.
Okay.
And I'm really hoping, I don't know if it's going to be that big. I think it's probably going to be set like a boundary, like an open world, but not like billions of procedure, like an infinite galaxy. Mm-hmm. I like that idea better because then you have a grasp of, I can actually explore all of this.
Yeah, and to me the biggest problem with it was when you tell me that there's infinite number of things, that means like, to me it's like, that means there's zero.
Yeah.
Like if you tell me there's infinite like replayability, I'm like, then none of this means anything.
Right.
Because I can it doesn't make me feel like I can accomplish by exploring the whole galaxy. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the biggest things with No Man's Sky was getting to what was like the center of the universe.
I think that was
it was like super anticlimactic. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it might have been patched by now, but what I heard was like there was like no reason to do it.
Yeah. So
that's really interesting because I wanted that game to be good too. I think we're all looking for a way to like escape into an ecosystem, and that was one thing that was cool because they had so many different types of creatures on the planets, and they had all these like variations of the similar creature, but they all had different characteristics and different temperaments, and you actually could get into like you could fight. There's people you like fight,
right? Yeah,
actually engage with, but it just fell out of place. So what do you think this new game is doing differently?
I hope
actually not being terrible.
Right. I really, really hope it's going to be less of like this idea of like a huge randomly generated place and more of like a huge actual galaxy that is different from ours that exists, in the sense of like there's aliens and there's these different ecosystems, but they all have like societies built around it, right? And in like No Man's Sky, it was all just animals in all these different places, and some would fight you, but they weren't organized, you know,
right?
Because they were procedurally generated. But I like the idea of having almost a Mass Effect level of like, there's gonna be different alien species that inhabit certain planets.
They're sentient.
Right, yeah. And
that's way more interesting.
Right, yeah.
It's way more interesting.
And the idea of an actual story, and there's a reason for you to be doing different things, and a very open world and big, but also very achievably explorable, you know.
That's a really good way to put it. I think they should put that on the back of the box.
You're right.
So I'll have to check on that one too.
Yeah.
If you hear anything about it new. I saw like a trailer or something, but I don't really know enough about it to get fully engaged in it.
It's very like under wraps right now. They there was a leak at one point where
hopefully they don't have a flood.
You're right.
Right before E3, they drop all the trailers and then have a flood.
Oh man, it's like a curse for anyone trying to be like No Man's Sky. But there was like there was a leak of somebody from Bethesda that was like, here's a list of all the titles that Bethesda's working on.
Was that the Walmart leak?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
And all of those have been true. Like Rage 2 was real.
Yeah. And then and they copyright, or they bought like the name Starfield. And then recently one of the, but I can't remember who in Bethesda, but they tweeted out that they were working, or they in an interview they said they were working on 2 big games.
Mm-hmm.
And then one is Fallout 76. So
wow. I have no idea what Fallout 76 is going to be. Yeah. I heard it's going to be like a online shared world thing, but I don't really know enough to comment. But yeah, I think that to me, having something that does what was it called again? The game
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky was trying to do. I want that.
Yeah.
I honestly like want to see it be realized because of it was such a flop.
Yeah.
That
it's
like,
so disappointing.
Yeah, and I had a friend who got it and was like so let down.
Yeah.
So, I don't have any more predictions except my weird one.
Okay.
Do you have
I have
else?
one more.
Okay.
And I wanted to talk about Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Okay.
And it's exciting for a lot of people that played the first one. I never played the first one.
I didn't play it either. I have a little context for it. I know it's in an Xbox game.
I think so.
I think it is. I think it's an Xbox.
It's either Xbox or PS4, or a PS exclusive.
I think it's on Xbox. I think it is. Let me look it up.
Go for
Continue.
I remember hearing about. I think it was even put on Steam. It was ported to Steam at one point. But the first one, Beyond Good and Evil, and it was like super huge cult classic. A lot of people loved it because it was very like focused on the character and this interesting like story about there was like human trafficking in it, and
it's on everything.
Okay.
I'll cut you off, but PlayStation 2,
Everything.
Xbox, GameCube.
Wow.
It's on the GameCube.
Dang, I could have played it.
That's a thing.
That's a thing.
Human trafficking.
Yeah. it had like trafficking and
That's heavy, man.
yeah, and it talks about it's about like I haven't played it, so I don't want to like say it and then be wrong.
Right.
But
weird like anamorph people.
yeah, and it had this idea of like almost like taking care of animals and people, and like it had like a good story and message behind it. And it was like it did awfully in sales, but afterwards like it was
like a cult classic.
Yeah, it became a cult classic.
Yeah, the trailer was really mature.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of swearing, there was some like fan service, and the animated variety of that. And there was like it was really gritty. It was really like trashy. And not like I'm not saying like the quality's bad. I was saying like the world was like dirty.
Yeah.
More like just grungy. But like really like the trailer was crazy. Like the level of detail, and I remember like there was like the kind of like this pig guy, and then like he got some money stolen from him, and they like stole this tooth, like this kind of like this human type person, and then there was like this crossbreed thing, and they stole his money and like had booster jets and like flew off, and he's like, I want my effing money back. And like so then they had this huge chase scene and they're flying around killing everyone, and like so it had that like bombastic over the top quality, but it really stuck with me because of how like beautiful the animation was. So I've never played any of them either, and I know it's like a very like critically acclaimed game, and also like people love it. Yeah. So that's cool. I don't know anything about it.
Right. Yeah. I think it'll just be really interesting, like where they take it and like the amount of detail they put into it. It's funny because like the trailer was super detailed, and they showed a demo, and it's like barely playable.
It's like polygons.
Yeah, but I feel like I would hate for them to flop. I would love to see it like put as much detail and love as they want to.
Yeah.
And it shows like this really gross world of like if we don't take care of what we have kind of thing. I think it could be really good.
Cool. We'll have to. Hopefully, they'll have more at E3.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's my 3 predictions.
Okay. Well, I have a last prediction.
All right.
So,
this is very detailed.
this one was just like, what if? Let's talk
aliens.
About Smash Brothers. And kind of where I want to go with this is, what is the weirdest character you think could come to Smash? And we're gonna go back and forth. My first one, and I know you're gonna be mad because I'm gonna steal it, is Waluigi.
Dang it!
Waluigi is not in Smash, and I don't get to use his like stupid little like tennis racket.
So mad.
I'm gonna be so pissed because Waluigi doesn't have any games, and he's kind of like an afterthought, and like he's a horrible human being. He's like the cheap version of Wario, which is the evil version of Mario, and like he's Luigi, so he's like dumb, and I think like but he does need his place in Smash.
I agree,
because he actually is technically in the game.
Yeah, because
he's like a trophy you can get, but he also is a character that you can, like a secondary character you can bring in, and he like fights for a while and leaves. Yeah. And like just put him in the game because he's so weird. He has like the giant hook nose and like long gangly arms, and I'm like, you are gonna be like Ariel type character.
Yeah.
So Waluigi, and he's really annoying.
Yeah,
which is like
perfect.
All the characters in Smash.
You're right.
So I want Waluigi to be in the game, and I want his final Smash to be some type of trippy like LSD trip.
Yes.
So do you have any? I have a couple more, but do you have anything off the top of your head where you're like, that is weird but kind of plausible?
The have you played Luigi's Mansion?
Yes. I haven't finished it, but I played it.
First of all, that's one of my favorite games of all time for whatever reason. Probably childhood nostalgia, but like the doctor, I can't remember his name, but he's the vacuum doctor.
The old guy?
Yes. He'd be the best.
Where he's like,
yeah. And he has the vacuum
and
all
the weird
his
glasses,
yeah.
spirals.
All of his attacks could be like using the vacuums.
Yeah.
And like his final smash could be like he opens the vacuum and lets all the ghosts out, and like they go and chase everyone.
You get scared out of your mind.
Yes.
That would be really good. I think he'd be funny because he's such a weird character in the game because he's kind of like, hey, there's all these ghosts and like you need to exercise this entire house. I don't have time. I'm old.
I'm old, so you should do it.
And then he'd like, here's a vacuum.
Yeah.
Bye. And then he just leaves. So no, I think he'd be funny. I also thought of trying to think like outside the box because like they've done weird stuff. They did Snake.
Yeah.
From Metal Gear, which is like I would never think of Snake.
Yeah.
An easy one I think that we could do would be another waifu.
You're right.
I was like, I literally wrote in here some other waifu.
Some other waifu.
So
always need more waifu.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think that we had a ton of Fire Emblem characters.
Yeah,
like
we've
too
had
many.
Too many.
We had like how many was six different ones.
An absurd amount.
Keep Marth, he's great. He's kind of like my main in that. But something that I want somebody from F-Zero.
Oh, that'd be
like
great.
A weird like Pigman or like something or Andross or like some weird. No. I want Star Wolf.
Yeah.
But I want the pig guy.
Yeah.
Whatever his name is.
I forget his name.
Or something that's just kind of related to Star Fox or F-Zero. I don't really know a lot of the characters in F-Zero though, so
it's so funny that you mentioned F-Zero. I was literally thinking that, but I was like, I don't know any F-Zero characters besides Captain Falcon. So
yeah,
but my roommate's been talking about how they should really do like another F-Zero title.
Yeah,
except focus on like Captain Falcon's bounty hunter story, and then if they did that, then they could include a bunch of characters from them and then implement them.
You're right, not the pig guy. He's dumb. Let's do whoever, like there's an anime where he's like running around and he's like actually racing.
F-Zero?
I mean, an actual like racing anime.
Yeah.
Whatever the villain of that is.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's like kind of fabulous and
probably
over the top.
As they should be, all villains.
Also like other weird, like I want a Big Daddy from BioShock.
Oh.
But that's never going to happen.
All I heard was I want to be daddy.
No! Shut up. No.
Big Daddy from BioShock.
I want a Big Daddy from BioShock or some other like third party.
Yeah.
What's a weird? Okay, so what's a game?
That would be super weird because that's
Like,
super third party.
Snake.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
But I guess it'd have to be like a JRPG.
Yeah. See, it's different because BioShock is like not Japanese.
No, it really is. You're right.
Snake is very Japanese.
Something that is what's a weird Japanese game that we could put a character into Smash.
I was about to say Xenoblade Chronicles, but
They're
they
probably
already
gonna
have
do that.
They already have one.
With Shulk.
Yeah. The waifu from Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
You're right. Some other game. What's
Dark Souls.
That would be fun.
That'd be
I would
great.
play that. I would play the crap out of that. Maybe a game they've been adding a bunch of games that have been like never on Nintendo. So maybe maybe somebody from Dark Souls.
That'd be super cool.
You could play as the I mean, obviously we could play Solaire.
Yeah.
Which is
that would be the best thing ever.
Like he just like his taunt is the sun.
Yes.
So anyway,
I really want them to do that.
For context, Solaire is like an overweight knight that has like a sun face on his shirt and like barely any armor. And he's got this big chest, and he's like, I sometimes stare into the sun. He like worships the sun.
Yeah.
And I secretly think he's Gwen, which is one of the main characters in Dark Souls. It's his son, which is like the leader of the entire kingdom. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so he's like stares into the sun. He's kind of like insane.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just sit here and like bask in the sun's glory. And he has this weird covenant. And anyway, so I think that'd be cool. I don't really have anything else that. Ridley. I want Ridley.
Oh, that would
be stupid because like it'd be so overpowered or too big.
Yeah.
So part of me wants Ridley or maybe Dark Samus.
Yeah. Oh, Dark Samus would be cool.
That would be easy to do.
Yeah, that'd be super easy to do. I like the idea of Ridley being like the final smash of Samus, like it being like Ridley pops up out of nowhere and like she starts fighting him, and then that fight is like affecting the people that are on
I watched
the stage.
A YouTuber called Video Game Donkey.
Oh,
He's
yes.
so dumb. And so he came up with a few Jimmy Neutron. Please put Jimmy Neutron in Smash. Or Jack Skellington.
Yeah. Good.
Either one of those would be great.
Best.
They're never gonna happen.
You're right.
Anyway, there's a couple games that I'm really excited for that have been announced.
Oh man, we haven't even talked about Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for Anthem.
Mm-hmm.
When it first came out,
rapid fire, get out.
I know, right?
Get out.
Anthem, when it first came out with those trailers, it looks so pretty. It is such a good looking game. And I really hope they just Destiny 2, but what it should have been.
And also what Mass Effect Andromeda should have been.
Yeah.
Because that game was bollocks.
Yeah.
That game was awful. And I honestly think if BioWare doesn't they're going to be done.
Yeah.
They have to nail this new game.
Yeah.
Which I think, like, by the trailer, looks really good.
It looks really good. As long as as long as it doesn't turn into another Destiny, it'll be phenomenal. Yeah. If it's what Destiny should have been.
Is Destiny still a thing? Like, do people play that?
People still play it. I'm sure some people are super into it still.
I know, like, there was always a new Assassin's Creed in
Oh yeah, I didn't
Call of
even.
Duty, but
There's also like a Forza game. Nobody cares.
I'm kind of Oh, okay. Did you see the trailer for Shadows Die Twice?
No.
Okay, so this is From Software.
Okay. Love From Software.
So I'll give you and you should watch the trailer and we can annotate it.
Okay.
In the video, put in the description, because if you're into Dark Souls, which is I don't know, you really should play Dark Souls. At least just get past the first game.
Yeah.
Try to get into it. And there's also Bloodborne.
Yeah.
And the idea, what they had was this weird bone contraption, and instead of it looked like a femur, it was twisted up.
Yes.
And inside of it were all these mechanical parts, and the bone was being twisted, and this in a way this rope was inside of it all, and it was being contorted and twisted more and more and more, and at one point snapped. and then it cut. Like it makes this like.
I have seen this
Oh
trailer.
no, it doesn't snap. It just ends.
Yeah.
So to me, like that style, and if you look, like I watched a video about it, and they said like, by what's the music that's playing and like the background, it's actually Japan. It's like got some Japanese influences. So to me, I'm like, dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Are they taking Bloodborne and making it Japanese?
Oh.
I just really hope it's on Xbox.
Yeah. Set it in like.
We need a
Eastern.
Bloodborne. You know what? We need a Bloodborne.
You're right.
We need a Bloodborne.
Xbox, we need a Bloodborne.
Yeah, yes. But Phil Spencer's like the leader.
Oh yeah.
Of that, like, please.
Just
give us Bloodborne 2. So either this is Bloodborne 2, or I can see them like, you know what? That's a Sony thing. We're gonna make something that's on everything, and we don't want to do Dark Souls again.
Yeah.
So it's like a Japanese Dark Souls, which they did do with Neo, which was another game.
Yeah.
On
I do remember that
on PlayStation 4, but like, I feel like this one is gonna be more for. It's gonna be probably multi-platform.
Yeah.
So they were like, hey, I'm sure they'll have something for E3 about it. And then I kind of was interested in Cone Vein, but it looks like a waifu simulator with Dark Souls and like vampires.
Yeah.
So I'm like, cliche with, I don't know.
Yeah. I can understand that.
So
there's a man. We didn't even get to Cyberpunk 2077.
There's so much to talk about.
Yeah, there really is.
And the issue is next week there will be even more to talk about, and we didn't even get to any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, I'm kind of done, like, with my predictions, but there's so much more to talk about.
Oh yeah.
So I think we should just kind of end it here before we spiral out of control with even more
like
stuff.
5 hours just talking about.
So we'll come back with kind of closing stuff, and see you then.
Bye.
And we're back, and I just wanted to say thanks so much for checking out our podcast. I'm gonna kill myself because I messed that up so much.
Let's keep that one. Let's use that one.
So we were like originally trying to think of like a really good way to like hook you guys into continuing to like check out our podcast. I think that actually will shock you into coming back to see if I actually did kill myself.
You're right.
No.
Find out next week.
we want to build an army of hypocritics, so check out the next episode to see how you can also be a hypocritic. And I've been Alex.
I've been Joe.
And thank you so much for checking out this podcast. See you next week for some crazy E3 revelations and new stuff. Bye.
Bye.